So for this tutorial today, I'm using a G hook or 4mm. It has an ergonomic handle which is easier on the hand. There's the G, which is an American thing, and the 4mm, which you'll need for English terminology. This one is made by Clover. Okay, so the next thing you need is a ball of yarn. Now I'm using a double knitting by Stylecraft. This is a colour called Meadow. It looks a little bit brighter in real life than it does on the video. On the back of the label you'll see details about washing and the needle or hook size, which is there. Difficult for you to see actually, even if I hold it a bit closer. And this, you'll be happy to know, is vegan friendly, this one. So now the first thing to do is to make a slip knot. So take your ball of yarn and get the tail end of it, make a loop over your finger, and then you want to grab that tail by pushing it under that loop, grabbing it with your hook and holding that steady and pulling on the tail end. And so now you have a nice hoop or loop on the hook. And so you can just tighten that by tugging on the end a little, and you want it to be loose enough to move up and down the hook without being wedged. And then I wrap the yarn in whatever way feels comfortable really around my hand. You'll find your way to do it. And then pass the hook under the yarn, it's called a yarn over, and then just pull that grabbed yarn through the first hoop, the slip knot that you made. And then we do that again, yarn over and pull that through the second loop. So now there are two. And then we just keep going with this, yarn over, pull through, and there you have three. And again, yarn over and pull through another one. And you do this until you have as many little hoops, little loops as you need for your project. Yarn over, pull through, and let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what I'm going to do to make a square is do 20. And I just want to get to the end of this 20 and then one extra. And then, there's my one extra. I'm going to count not the first chain that's right next, not that one, but the one next to it is where I'm going in. That first one is going to be part of my first stitch. So push the hook through that yarn, and then again, as you've been doing with the chains, yarn over, pull that through that hoop. And then you've got two little hoops on your hook. Yarn over again and pull through both of those. And that's your first double crochet. And then the next thing to do is to go all the way along. So there's the next hoop. I'm going to go in through there. So you put your hook into that next little chain, yarn over and pull through that one. So again, two loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both of those. So now you've done two double crochet. And the next chain, through, yarn over, pull through, and there are two, and then yarn over and pull through both of those. And you're going to go all the way along the chain until you reach the end, which we'll do now. So hook through, yarn over, and you can always try and slow this down, but basically just going right the way along the chain to the very end. And you will no doubt be screaming at me at the moment about how quickly this is happening. But if you need to, you can just rewind and go back to the beginning. It takes a while to get to this sort of speed, but just in the interest of not boring you to death as well, I'll get to the end of the chain here and then I'll show you what to do. You build up a nice rhythm as you get used to it, and also a nice even tension, and then you get nice similarly sized stitches. So as I approach the end of this one, I'll show you what to do to jump up to the next level. So here's the very last chain, the first one that you did, and do the usual double crochet through there and finish that off. And to help you turn, you want to do a chain one and then turn your work. Now that chain one has just got you to the beginning of the next row, and they're a pretty little row of stitches. So you want to go now and carry on with your double crochets into immediately that chain from the last round, and here you go with your double crochet, and there's the next one. Look at the top here. If you're familiar with knitting, this looks familiar. Little row of V's, which is at the very top of the work. Now you want to make sure from now on that you're going through the front and the back, so through both parts of that V with your stitches. So go through, and then again let's have a look at that top of that V, and you're going through the front and the back of the V. And if you don't go through the front and the back, you can end up with a ridge. And sometimes you do want a ridge. It looks lovely. It looks a bit like ribbing in knitting. But for this particular little square that we're doing, we're just doing it flat. So you can see how lovely the stitches are without any special tricks or anything like that. And so front and back, and then you double crochet, and all the way along until we reach the end. Tina, slow down. Okay, I will. Okay, I'm approaching the end of this second row, and here I am going into the very last stitch. There we go, push that through, front to back, yarn over, pull through, and pull through again. Okay, so because I'm at the end of the row, I'm going to do my chain one, and again turn the work. And there you are, 2 rows completed. A little bit curly, but that's okay. And so in I go again. So this is the third row into that first stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And there's the little V's through front and back. My next double crochet, and once again I'm going to go all the way along the row, and I'm going to do that quite quickly now. So here we go at a more normal speed. I'm going to do 1 row, and the next row, the next row, the next row, and so on until I've got about 10 centimeters square. So I'm almost at the point where I have 10 centimeters, but I need 1 more row to make that happen. So here we go. I'm going to do 1 chain and then go all the way along the row as you have been seeing. And the great thing about doing a square as a starter is that you can, with a bunch of squares, you can have a mat, or you can make a cushion cover, or you can keep going and make a blanket. And actually this is just a double crochet square, but as you're learning other stitches, you could have 1 square made of double crochet like this one, or you could have one with trebles, or one with clusters of trebles. you could stick the odd granny square in there, and I'll do tutorials for all of these things later. So anyway, we will just approach the end of this. Oh, and I do like to mix up my colours. So this is Meadow, but there are so many different colours, especially in this Stylecraft range. They've got something like about 35 colours, maybe even more than that. And you can really have fun playing with what goes with what clashes with what. So here we are, almost at the end. The very last stitch now, and push the hook through, yarn over, pull through both, and then just to finish this off, I'm going to need a pair of scissors, and I'm going to do as though I'm chaining one, but carry on pulling like that until I've got I don't know, about 4 or 5 inches, something like that, and then just snip like that, and then pull that nice and tight, and there we've got a really lovely square. And you can just later on weave in the ends however you want to do it, hide them, and there we are, the first double crochet square. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.